It's 2 o'clock, exactly.
Perfect. All right, so very good. We're gonna get started here. So working on mount attacks this week. We're gonna be going over our front cross choke today. We may get a second one in. I want to go kind of deep with this front cross choke. It is one of the more fundamental chokes in jiu-jitsu. It is, however, being as fundamental as it is like really super, that's like super old school stuff. There's video of Elio Gracie doing front cross chokes. And people that have trained with him have talked about that was one of his favorite chokes. But I digress. The point is that it's been around for a very long time, and the thing about it is it's very difficult to do properly. The reason being is that when you get into the position, oftentimes what people think it's the actual flaring of the elbows that causes the choke. It is not. If you're doing the choke correctly, your elbows are in the whole time. You're not flaring your elbows at all. And that's the hard part. And I'll be honest, like when I first started learning jiu-jitsu and when I started trying the front cross choke, it was honestly, I don't think I hit it live with a partner until high purple belt, maybe low brown belt, maybe. I know I definitely didn't hit it as a blue belt, and I for sure, well actually that's not true. I'm not sure if I hit it as a purple belt. I know I didn't hit it as a white belt. So it's one of those chokes that you learn early on, but it really takes a long time to kind of get used to. And I don't necessarily think, for me, it was practicing it on a bunch of people because I didn't practice it that often. I tried it a lot as a white belt, and I kind of lost interest in it because I couldn't really do it at all. I was able to do it like if I flared my elbows. The problem is that it's very easy to block that with the flaring of. It's very easy to block the flaring of the elbows, and then you're just kind of sitting there. So. I think that it was just a matter of letting it ruminate in my head, and when we actually drilled it in class, getting the drilling done there. And I remember the first time I actually hit it drilling in class where it was legit without me flaring my elbows, and the person tapped, and I was like, was that it? And they were like, yeah, that was it. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And I think that was around the time that I was able to actually hit it live. So that, like I said, may have been high purple belt, low brown belt. But let's get started. So when you're setting this up, it's obviously a lot easier to set this up when your partner is just sitting there letting you try to choke them. It's a little bit more difficult, well, a lot more difficult when you actually have someone that's giving you some resistance. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the basics of it, the fundamental ideas of what we want to try to do. And then we're going to pick it up a little bit, and I'm going to have Chelsea actually give me just a little bit of resistance. Now remember, when you're drilling something, it is best to go through the motions as many times as possible with very little to no resistance. We want to get those neural pathways like blazed in so that you know what the actual movement is. And then when you have resistance, the neural pathway, you kind of find a way to get back to those neural pathways. Your mind works that way. So it'll help you get into the right position. So however, the difference is, especially with the front cross choke, because there's so many nuances in it, it's a little bit more helpful to get a little mild resistance. And like I said, it helps you kind of pick the points where you may need some assistance. You may need to actually practice it more. And like I said, it's going through the motion. So let's get started. I'm kind of talking a lot here. Let's just get right to it. So what I'm going to do is I want my first grip. I'm going to start this up high, and when we get a little bit closer to actually doing it closer to live, we'll start down low. But I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to grab a hold of her lapel, and I'm going to open up my partner's lapel. From right here, I reach my hand in. Now, if you see, I kind of have like a little slide with her lapel. So when I go in, my fingers are going to go into the lapel here, and I'm going to feed my hand nice and deep. Now watch. I have a whole her lapel with my opposite side hand that I'm feeding through. I can actually lift her up a little bit and really push to get my hand nice and deep behind her neck. When I tell people to do this, I always say grab the label. Get as deep as possible in through the neck there and grab a hold of the label. If your fingertips are on grabbing the label, in all likelihood you are deep enough. If it's uncomfortable on your wrist, in all likelihood you are deep enough. I think part of what makes this choke so difficult is the discomfort that your wrists and forearms go through when you're first starting to learn how to do it. And I think getting that strength of training regularly and strengthening up your wrists and forearms really helps make this choke a lot easier. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why I wasn't able to hit it until high purple, low brown. Is at that point my wrists and forearms were pretty tough from 5, 6, 7 years of training. So from here, once I grab a hold of the label here, I'm driving my elbow down to her chest. And this is one of those positions where we need to have that seal between my elbow and her chest. Now, when you're doing this correctly, it's going to be actually, this part right here will be very uncomfortable for your partner. Because if I lean heavy here and I drive my elbow in and I curl my wrist a little bit, it actually is hard for her to breathe. Let me just give it to you for a second, okay? Is that uncomfortable?
It is.
Yeah. And so what I'm doing is I'm just driving my elbow down and I'm curling my wrist up. And it's ever so slight. It's just basically causing static pressure on your partner's chest. Towards my partner's arm here. Remember, now that my arm is trapped on this side, I've committed to this choke. She now has a free leg. So from here, now I'm going to square up. So what I want to do is I don't want to sit up high, because if she bucks high and we lean forward here, my face is going to go crashing first into the mat. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you can hurt your neck doing this. So we don't want to be up high. We actually want to be down low here. So now she bucks and my head hits the mat. I'm only going like 2 or 3 inches versus up here where I'm going like 2 or 3 feet and can really mess up my neck. So down low here. Now from right here, I'm just going to open up my wrist, and I'll show you guys the motion that I'm going to do in just a moment here. But I'm going to just open up my wrist, and I get my partner's tap. Now I'll show you guys that wrist position in just a moment. But what I want to say here is I can make this really, really tight. Meaning once I finish this choke, once I set it up and actually go for my finish, I can make it so that her chest feels like she can't breathe. So even if I don't have the choke around her neck super tight, the fact that my body weight is sitting on her chest and I'm giving her pressure, there's like no room to breathe. So it's like everything is like you can't inhale. You can't, and the blood is getting cut off from your brain, and so you have both these things coming in at the same time. This is not a trachea choke. This is not a trachea choke. I am not flaring my elbows over my partner's neck. I'm keeping my elbows in nice and tight, and I'm opening up my hands like so. Now, the question may be, if you're opening up your hands and you have a hold of her lapel, you can't do this because the lapel is not like a stretchy material. It's tight. It's static. It's not going to go anywhere. But what this motion does is it forces my wrists, this part of my wrist and this part of my wrist, right into my partner's neck. And right here, when I push into my partner's neck like that, and that's what causes the choke. Now, I'm gonna do the actual strong finish here with my body weight on my partner, and you're gonna see, and you're probably gonna hear because she's probably gonna gasp a little bit. It's very uncomfortable. And so we're just going to do this real quick. You ready? Okay. So we've gotten into the mounted position. My chest is low and my arms are wide. So when I feed my hand in, I want to open up her lapel. So we're going to start working with my positioning and make it harder for her to push me up. So I'm leaning to the side here. This is the hand that I'm going to use to grab a hold of my partner's lapel and open the lapel up. From right here, my second hand, I come through. Look, I'm changing my positioning here so that now I can not only get my nice deep grip, get my hand behind her head, I do not have to pull my partner's head up as much if I get that angle. And look, now I can use my base here so that I can't get bucked. And remember, seal that chest, seal that elbow down to the chest here. Now I'm going to reposition my hand. So my second hand now comes over. I'm looking for a hold of that shoulder here, and now my body weight comes up over the top of her chest, and she goes for that choke. And you can have, how was that? That
was really tight.
Yeah. And so it's a combination of not only the choke, but it's the pressure on the chest as well.
It feels like I'm dying.
Yeah, it's basically kind of crushing everything from like the middle of your chest up, and that's a bit of an overstatement, but that's the idea. Is I want to make it difficult for her to inhale, and then once I make it difficult for her to inhale, that little added extra pressure of that choke. So we're gonna do this one more time from a different angle. I'm not gonna do it as hard. And then we're going to have Chelsea do it. So let's go sideways. Head can be facing that way. All right. So chest is low, arms are wide. From here, I lean my body weight. I open up my partner's lapel. And now I'm going to bring my body back, finding this lapel grip, and then getting my hand nice and deep. I can't stress this enough. The hand behind the lapel here cannot be stressed enough. The importance of this is the choke. This is setting up the choke. The first grip is the most important grip. If we have a shallow grip, it's going to be really hard to finish. So if your hand is behind their neck, it's good. If you can make it farther behind their neck, even better. So from right here, my elbow is down nice close to the chest here. Remember, I want that seal between my elbow and their chest. I then come over back the opposite side. So my free hand here, I come all the way over. I'm keeping my head down low. I'm finding a hold of her. So I'm just grabbing a hold of her shoulder. There's a whole bunch of material right here. I'm just gripping on this material. From right here, I'm leaning my body weight back over the center, keeping my head down low, and then I open up my hands and I get my choke. So, like I said, very nuanced choke, takes a fair amount of wrist, grip, and forearm strength. However, extremely effective. If you can set this up and get in there, this is one of those chokes that they're not getting out of. Once you lock it in, it's tough to get out of. Because basically once I'm here, once both my hands are here and my elbows are in tight, we can basically roll around and I'm still going to finish. She may not have as much pressure on her chest, but I still have that shearing pressure, that choking pressure right on her neck.
I have a question.
Go.
Is my thumb into the lapel or are my fingers into the lapel?
Fingertips. So the first grip, we're going to go fingertips into the lapel. Okay. It's going to be easier to bring your elbow down to my chest.
That makes sense.
So lean your body weight to one side, feeding that lapel in. Hold on a second. So when you're leading, so you're going to lean over. So that means that this hand is going to grab, you're going to open up my lapel on this side, that side.
So
this hand will
does
open.
this just stay here then?
Yep. Yep. Now from right here, this hand comes across. Reach in. Good. Elbow down. Good. Reposition. Head comes over, keeping your head down nice and low. Grab a hold of material. Nope. Over the shoulder. Good. From right here, elbows down tight. And open up your hands. You're flaring your elbows. Good. So remember, it's vitally important you do not flare your elbows, and I'll show you why. Go ahead.
Do you want me to find my elbows this time?
No, I'll pop them out. Don't worry.
Okay.
So lean, open up the lapel, hand goes in, deep behind the shoulder, deep behind the neck, elbow down to the chest, hand comes over, nice half moon, handful of material here. Good. So if we pop that elbow out, she has no choke. See from right here, her elbow flares, elbow comes up over my head, there is no choke anymore. Good. So, that is one setup of hundreds of setups for your front cross choke. There are a ton to do. Let's go with that for right now. I want to talk a little bit more about the nuances of the choke, and then we're going to call it. So let's move a little closer to the. Awesome. You're gonna have to sit on your knees, please. All right. So when you're grabbing this, my hand goes in. I'm really, really deep here. So like if you can see, my hand is literally behind her neck here, and my elbow is down nice and tight to her chest. I want that seal. My second hand, I make that half moon position, and I grab a hold of material right by her shoulder, just like so. From right here, my elbows are down, and then I flare my wrists. Elbows are down, flare my wrists, and I get my tap. And if you notice, I'm flaring my wrists, I'm just doing this motion. I'm not moving my elbows at all. Don't move your elbows. Look how, can you put the camera on my elbows? Please. So here, and I go for my finish, no elbow flare at all. That's really important. It's all in this. It seems like it's not doing anything, but obviously it is if she's choking. Let's give it a shot. I
got it.
All right. Let's go right away. Let's get my... Okay. So you can square up on me here. Yeah, you should be fine. Good. Nice and deep. Good. Here. Elbows. Get the elbows down. So pull it in. There you go. Good. So we need a deeper grip with both hands.
Okay.
Good. Elbow down. Good. That's better. Good. And that's it. That's the choke. And so this is one of those ones, like I said, it's a very nuanced choke. It doesn't take a lot, but it does take practice. It's not one of those chokes that you just can kind of, oh yeah, I got that one. Like once you learn an armbar, generally speaking, you know the general motion of an armbar, and you can get there relatively easily, even as a white belt. It does get a little confusing. Yes, I got lost in the minutia as well when I was a white belt. Don't think that it's, but it's one of those, like that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Reminder, we will be back on Monday. Are we going to be doing the same times? Are we changing the times?
Look, for this month, we're doing the same times.
Okay. So we're going to be here at 5 Monday through Thursday, and then at 2 o'clock on Fridays. If you would like to join us, you are more than welcome. We are here, like I said, 5 days a week. This is entirely free, obviously. And if you'd like to join us, actually do it live with us. If you have a camera and you want me to take a look and tell you what I think, I'm more than happy to do that. I would love to be able to watch you and help you tune up your game while we're stuck in quarantine.
You guys can also do that with your phone. What he's talking about is our Discord chat. That link is right down below. If you are in Discord chat right now and we haven't gotten back to you since the live stream started, if you guys want to drill at all, we will get to you right after we end the stream. So hang in there just for a few more minutes. Otherwise, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Heart and Soul BJJ. And if you liked this stream, please like and subscribe below. It really helps our channel out. Like we said, this is free, and we really want you to be part of our community. Other than that, we will see you guys on Monday.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Let's call it. Oos.